Hi everyone, you're watching The Indian Sun. My name is Sonia Singha and I will be your host for the day. Australia's migration policy has long been in the limelight. The changing laws aided by the COVID-19 situation has made the pathway for seeking permanent residency even more challenging for thousands of temporary residents. One such policy allows families who are not permanent residents to be deported if their children have a disability. Today, we have Varun Katyal on our show, who was refused his permanent residency due to his son, Kayan's special needs. Thank you for being on our show, Varun, and for agreeing to share your story.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Sonia.
Not a problem at all. So, Varun, could you tell us how long have you been in Australia? So, what your journey has been so far, and what is your residency status at this stage?
So, Sonia, I came to Australia in 2009. So it's been over 12 years now. So I came here as a student, finished my studies, I went on temporary visas, all different temporary visas, and then after that, I got sponsored by my employer where I was working. So, and then after the sponsorship, we become eligible to apply for 186 visa, which is a pathway to a residency. So, but in the meantime, my son was born in 2015 here in Melbourne, but he was born with a disability. The disability is called cerebral palsy. So from that time onwards, we started facing these issues with immigration. So firstly, what they did is they didn't add my son into my current visas on that time. So me and my wife were on 457 visa, and we requested immigration to add our son into a normal visa or whatever. Because normally what happened is, like I was a main holder of the visa, and accordingly, all the dependent they get the same kind of visa whatever I'm holding. I was holding on that time, but they didn't accept my son in that visa application, just because they said your son is disabled and he's going to be a burden on Australian health system. So they
Mm.
didn't give him any 457 visa or anything. So from that time, our fight started. After that, what they did is in 2018, end of 2018, they firstly rejected his 457 application. Then we applied that decision into the tribunal court, which
Mhm.
also got rejected last year. And now his case is in federal court. So basically, the day my son was born until now, he's over 6 years old now, but he hasn't held any single visa for a single day in his life. He is always on bridging visa, which is kind of a waiting visa.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, and but by the end of 2018, me and my wife we decided to apply for our residency visa
Uh-huh.
without our son. So my son wasn't even added into our file when we applied for our 186 visa. But still, immigration asked us like he has to go through a medical assessment again. So he went through a medical assessment again, and then obviously he failed again. And then they gave us like an option to show the funds called just the support funds. So they estimated my son's expense gonna be $1.2 million over the next 10 years. But uh, we didn't have that kind of money, in our bank accounts. But we tried to explain them like we can take care of our son. We are taking care of him from last 6 years, and we can do that in future as well. We don't need any help from the government. Like we don't even need any Medicare card. You can give the Medicare card, or but they didn't accept that. And then they end up declining, refusing a residency last month, in the month of February. Sorry.
Alrighty.
Um,
So where are we standing right now? So have you put in a appeal again?
So it's quite complicated now. So apparently, my son is in federal court for his
Mhm.
457 visa application. Me and my wife, we applied in the tribunal court now for our 1865 refusal because we got refusal in February.
Mhm.
So we applied that in the tribunal court now.
Oh, I see.
So we are on bridging visa, but we have no idea when they're going to open our file or when we're going to have a hearing.
Okay. So I understand you were refused your permanent residency a couple of months ago, and the sole
Yeah,
reason was quoted because of your Kayan's disability. So could you
that's
tell
right.
the viewers more about Kayan's special needs, and could you walk us through your experience when you were refused the visa? What was the emotions that was boiling in you?
See, the emotions obviously they're not really good. When um, you done something wrong in your life, then you face some bad things in your life, then you accept it. You gotta know in your heart, like, you have done something wrong, now you have to face the consequences. But on the other hand, when you haven't done anything wrong, you have done everything right. Whatever they have asked me to do in the past, all with regards to my visas and everything, I've done everything right. Never done anything wrong. And then on top of that, we had a child with a disability, so we already had a lot of on our plate already. And then I don't know how they have decided to give us a more hard time by just declining our visa, only on a sole reason of a son's disability. I know he needs some help, but it's not like you can just sit around and just predict the future of any child. Even though he's disabled, he can do wonders in the world, you know.
Hmm.
And with regards to the emotions, obviously it's hard for any parent in the world, when somebody just come into your face and just tell you your son is considered as a burden on a health system, or in a country like Australia, where they normally talk about a lot about, the same rights for everyone, for same rights for every single person, like with the disability, without disability, with the race or without race, or any color, any language, any background they came from. They call about equal rights. They talk about equal rights, but when it comes to a ground reality, I don't think any equal rights for anyone over here.
That's quite unfortunate to hear, Varun. With Kayan's special needs, how have you managed to keep up with like all the hardships that you're facing currently, especially in this current scenario with COVID-19 and in the last 6 years? How have you managed so far?
Managing wasn't that bad because you know uh, we are all hard workers, and normally we work hard. We try to have a good life, so that's what we did. I was working hard, even though it was COVID-19. I was still working, uh, and with my son Kian, there is some challenges, but they're not that bad. Like, we are not on that bad side where we have to face the challenge and just sit back and just cry all the time. Uh, uh, his health is improving. So when our journey first started, first few years, like 1 or 2 years, was really hard for us. Just to accept the thing, like, our son has a disability which is gonna be with him for his life. So there's no such a cure in the world for this disease he has. And then, but when he started talking, then we realized, like, he is improving and he is showing us a good signs. Now he's going to school, and a lot of people are helpful over here. Like, when we started our petition, we were hoping to get like 5 to 10,000 signatures only, but we end up having like more than 100,000 signatures on our petition. So the response was absolutely overwhelming for us. So with the last 6 years, I think some days are bad, some days are good, but the only thing which is really hard to accept is, like, they're not treating my son in an equal way, like they treat any other child in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, like around the support. Obviously, during such times, the community support or from a support from a governing body is what you need crucially in this kind of scenario. So it's good to know that you've gotten that community support. Was there anything particular that you would want to highlight in terms of that?
No, I just wanted to request the immigration minister if he can just see the overwhelming response we got from the people or from the community. Because when they send us the refusal letter, it generally, it just states in that letter that this rule doesn't come in the under public criteria. So I think if they talk about public, like, public is with us, that's why they have signed that many. That's why we got that many signatures on our petition. So I think government has to see that, and I just request the immigration minister to look at our file again and just give us a positive feedback if we can.
How did you go about with the thought process of the petition? Like, where did you highlight that, and where was this given to the government, and what sorts?
So I started the petition on a website called change.org.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shared it on our social media. That was in the news as well. With the news article, they have highlighted the link in the news. And I'm a member of a lot of different Facebook pages and the Twitter pages. So I got response from all sort of communities. There was there's a community called Indians in Melbourne. There's a community called Pakistanis in Melbourne. There's a local disability groups over here, which I'm a member in. I've contacted every single admin. And the good thing is, normally on those pages, they don't post any of your posts like twice, but they have posted my post like 10 times in a row. Like, every single day they were posting, I was telling them, and nobody refused my post. Everybody just approved it, all the admins of the pages. I just really want to thank them as well.
That's amazing. That's really good to know that, especially in such times when you're away from home and you have this family in a country with such scenarios. It's really good to know that you have had that support, especially from your members back home. And it's amazing to know all about that. So, Warren, in terms of your next move, what are things looking like for you? I do understand that you've put the hearing in the court. So, what lies ahead? Should you have to go back? How are things going to be for like you?
To be honest, we don't really think about going back. It's going to be a big decision. I've been here too long. It's over the decade. It's been 12 years I'm here. I don't even know how the system works in India anymore. I don't even know if they have the right cure for my son's problem, or if they have the right treatment for him, or the right equipment, whatever we use over here, because we can't take everything from here to India. And what if India, in the Indian hospital, we can't find those things? What's going to happen then? Moving back can be a slow poison for my son. It can mean a slow poison for my son. His health can go in decline big time. And the other issue we face is we can't really make any future decisions. So if we talk about, everybody have a passion in their life. Everybody wants to make their career good, and everybody just want to plan their life a little bit. We can't really do anything. We just got stuck in this system from last 6 years. We can't really think about, let's say, not even a small thing, let alone the bigger things. Like if we wanted to buy something for our home, we just think like 50 times before we, just go ahead and buy it, just because we don't even know when we have to leave from here. If we wanted to invest money in something, we can't do that. If we wanted to buy something for our son, because the amount I have spent in last 6 years in the immigration case, I know I'm not talking about the immigration fees. That's the policies, the fees for everyone. But the thing is, because I need to go through all the refusals, and then I have to go to visit the lawyers, and they're not cheap. The lawyers are not cheap. They're very expensive. For every single thing you have to pay, because every 3-4 months they ask me for a few letters and something, and then I had to go to the lawyers and then spend money and get those letters written by them. I could have invested money on my son's future or for his needs, and as of current situation, we just hanging in the middle. We don't even know where to go. Yeah, that's the hardest part, I think, because we want to buy a lot of things for our son for his health, which gonna help him for his whole life, but we just can't do it at this stage.
And I do understand the government has programs like the National Disability Scheme Insurance, I believe, the NDIS.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that is not made available to your son, going back to the point because he's not considered a permanent resident at this stage.
That's right. Yeah, he's not he's not under NDIS. He's not eligible for it. So that's why we are fighting, so he can become eligible for NDIS, so he can access a lot of things. He can access a lot of care. We are doing our best giving him a care. We got a private health insurance. Most of our bills are covered by them. But still, when you have a small organization, you get smaller things. When you have a big organization, you have a bit more options. You can explore more options for your child or for your family member who is going through the disability.
Okay. And in terms of Kayan's day-to-day life, is there anything particular that we want to highlight? I believe he goes to a daycare. How are things? How are you managing things with your wife?
So one of us only works. So I'm working. My wife is not working. So when he was born, me and my wife, we made a decision like one of us gonna work and one is gonna be with him for to give him a 24-hour care. But in our case, I had to work just because I was the one who was getting sponsored, and we needed that sponsor to stay here. So she decided not to work. So he is home 24 hours for him. At the moment, he's in school, so he's going to school from morning to evening. He started this year, and day-to-day care is not really that hard. We kind of used to it, and we know what exactly he needs, and most of the things he do by himself. It's only his motor skills are not that fine. So whenever he's on his chair, he play with the toys, and he know how to turn on the TVs and stuff. If he wants to change the video, he used to call us to change the video, but now he can do it from his iPad. So you know, if we can now leave him for, let's say, a few minutes, my wife can work in a kitchen for that few minutes.
That's good to
Yeah.
know. I see a lot of improvements there. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Varun. Before I actually let you go, are there any last thoughts, any comments, any messages that you would like to give out to our viewers?
I just want to tell them, like, it was a really hard decision for us to come on a TV. It took us 6 years because we were fighting this case for last 6 years. But after 6 years, we were at the very end point where we thought before we move back, we're gonna give it a last try.
Mhm.
A lot of people still hold back these things. I think if they have any problem, they can just come ahead and ask for the help. There's people who can give you a hand, and like the response we have got, they can get the same response, and they can get help, because sometimes some people they just try to keep the things inside them, which lately gonna become like a disease for them. So it's
Mm.
better to talk to people, it's better to ask for help before it gets worse. So that's what we did, and just support our son, support our fight, and just as just request the minister, you can send a email to him, uh, requesting to reopen our file and just give a positive decision to us.
That's good to know. I will actually add some comments around how they can support your fight in the comments area so that you get more support, more immense amount of the community help. And thank you so much for taking the time out to share your story, Varun. It was a pleasure having you. And I wish you all the very best in your fight, to you and your
Thank you.
family. And I wish all the very best to Kian as well.
No problem. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
having
much
me.
again, Varun. Cheers. You have a
Thank
good
you.
one. Bye-bye.
And you too. Bye bye.